Our hero was a shut-in for 5 years because of his past in junior high, a constant bullying. One day while in bed, our protagonist was summoned by God to give him another chance. The lovely goddess offered him a reincarnation in a magical world and a bonus for his struggles in his current life. She granted him with tremendous power. With that, our hero was born to a royal family, to the king himself, and to the strongest maiden, the Flash Princess. First, the king and the queen were so happy, and they wanted to measure their newborn baby's power level. They were shocked to see that our hero's level was only 2 and he did not have any elemental magic so far. In reality, our hero was born with a maximum level of 1002, but the magical world only has 2 digits evaluating magic crystal. The max level humans know is 77. Because of this, they mistakenly thought the newborn prince who was named Reinhardt was powerless. The king and queen panicked and were ready to abandon the child and announced that the prince had died during childbirth, and they did it. Our poor hero was abandoned in a dangerous forest, so much for the peaceful life he wanted. Anyway, our hero changed his name from Reinhardt to Haruto, and he started testing his unique barrier magic and find a way to experiment with it. While he was doing that, a fox-like creature attacked him from behind. Fortunately, Haruto had a barrier around him. The monster cannot break through his barrier, and Haruto easily overpowered the monster. The monster surrendered to Haruto and told him that it was a red Fenrir, a fierce demon. Haruto used his barrier to speak with the monster and called it Flay. Because of this, the monster was named by Haruto as Flay and became his servant. His high mana and bizarre powers made Flay believe Haruto might be a demon king's reincarnation. Hearing this, Haruto went with Flay's assumption and told her that he was indeed the demon king's reincarnation. While they conversed, Haruto felt dizzy due to hunger. After all, he was a baby, and he asked Flay for some milk and Flay changed into a beautiful girl. Upon seeing naked Flay, Haruto blushed and covered her with his barrier-type cloth. But unfortunately, Flay can't produce milk anyway. Suddenly a man appeared from the rear with a war hammer and looked like a noble warrior. He was there to claim the baby who was abandoned by the king and the queen. Flay denied it and told him that the child was her master and she couldn't allow him to take Haruto away. The warrior said that his wife gave birth to a child, but unfortunately, the child was dead, and because of this he wanted to adopt Haruto and give him a chance to live a good life. The warrior promised Flay that if she agrees, she can be Haruto's servant in his mansion. Flay was moved by his loss and agreed to his conditions. Time flies and now Haruto is 9 years old and has a little sister. His father is a noble man and his name is Gold Zenfis. And Haruto's adoptive mother's name is Natalia Zenfis and his adoptive sister is Charlotte Zenfis. For some reason, Haruto's sister does not get along with Haruto. It bothers Haruto much, yet Charlotte is friendly with Flay and plays with her. Originally, our hero was planned to get some milk and escape, but because of the mother's kindness, he stayed a bit longer. Haruto was studying his barrier magic and found out that he could make anything out of his barrier. He even made a body double. He planned to make a body double for him and Flay and escape the mansion without anyone knowing this. That is still in process. Suddenly, Haruto's father calls him to the training ground and wants him to learn swordsmanship to compensate for Haruto's lack of mana. No one knows Haruto's true mana capacity and his OP level. Even Haruto himself doesn't know his own level. Haruto dodged his father's fierce attack and left him in shock, because no one below level 30 could handle that kind of attack, yet Haruto dodged it easily. Later, Gold told his wife that Haruto may be a demon's reincarnation, and that explains Haruto's unnatural powers. After some days, while in his room, Haruto heard some fuss around the mansion. He went to check what was the noise and found wounded soldiers everywhere. Haruto asked his father what happened. He replied that he and his soldiers went to subdue some bandits and were defeated by them. Gold Zenith felt humiliated due to a loss to a measly bandits. It angers Haruto deeply. He went to his room. While going to his room, Haruto healed the soldiers with his barrier magic. That night, Haruto and Flay were surveyed the area, with Haruto's barrier magic as some sort of display. Haruto found where the bandits hide. Haruto and Flay went to the hideout where the bandits were. Meanwhile, the bandits who attacked Gold Zenith were originally neighboring Empire's soldiers. They discussing how to defeat Gold Zenith the next time encountered him. Haruto heard most of it and attacked the head of the bandits and got info on the attack. After that, Haruto ordered Flay to burn the place to crisp. Haruto decided to write an anonymous letter to his father about the soldiers from the Empire. The next day, Gold Zenith got the letter and took action immediately. Charlotte heard everything and asked her father Dose he knew who was helping them. He Dose think Flay was the one behind this and explained it. Hearing this, Charlotte remembers that the previous day she saw her brother and Flay fly to the forest, and asks herself, who is her brother? From now on we are going to call Charlotte in a short form as Char. Char confronts Flay and asks her about Haruto, and why there are two Haruto. Char said that she saw Haruto and Flay fly over the forest, and yet she saw another Haruto sleeping in the bed. She was confused and questioned about Haruto's low mana level. After hearing this, Flay told Char about Haruto's immense mana, and no device could measure his powers, and he is the pinnacle of power, and ended the conversation. Later that day, Flay told everything that happened with Char to Haruto. Haruto decides to put an alarm on Char to survey her more. Char started to stalk Haruto every day after hearing what Flay said. It bothers Haruto. After some time, while dining, Haruto's father mentions that Natalia and Char are going to an annual festival instead of himself. Haruto insists they take Flay with them for extra protection, and remembered he gave her another task, checking in on low-level monsters to prevent any attack on the town. So Flay is out of options. After that, while chilling in his room, Haruto's alarms on Char went off. Natalia and Char were attacked by the Empire's soldiers. The attackers injured Natalia. Then Haruto gave instructions to Char via barrier, and Char told it to Natalia, and they end up in a cave with glowing moss. Natalia didn't know that the instructions were given by Haruto. Natalia told Char that whoever gave the instructions must be a hero of justice, and she will find the hero to help them. Natalia left Char behind in the cave and went to seek help, but was ambushed by the villains, and she decided to take her life. At that moment, her knife was shattered by Haruto, and she fell unconsciously. Haruto got furious and attacked the Imperial soldiers. He took his mom to safety where Char was hiding. Char came out and thanked Haruto. Char spoke to Haruto for the first time. She asked Haruto if he was a hero of justice. Haruto felt awkward and said yes for the sake of the young lady. He asked Char to never tell this secret to anyone, and Char agreed to seal her lips. After that, Flay was sent to retrieve Natalia and Charlotte. Haruto gave clues to his father, so he could figure out that someone from inside the country was helping the Imperial soldiers to sneak into the borders. Char and Natalia came into the chambers, safely escorted by Flay. Unexpectedly, Char hugged her big brother and cuddled with him. Everyone was surprised to see this. Haruto felt loved by his little sister. Ever since Haruto became Char's hero, she started spending more time with Haruto in his room. Curiously, she asked about Haruto's magic display, and he told her that this was his ancient magic and he was studying them without any text. Char took Haruto to the library in their home and picked some ancient magic books for him. At some point, Haruto speaks to himself that he misses watching anime. Char, with a curious tone, asked about the thing called anime. This makes Haruto happy, and he forgets everything and speaks for hours about anime to Char, and feels ashamed of that afterwards. But Char seems genuinely interested in anime, and she asks Haruto to show her some of it. Haruto manages to obtain internet and his subscriptions through his magic and plays some anime to Char. After watching, she asked Haruto to teach her the anime language Akea Japanese. Char learned basic to pro-level Japanese in 2 weeks, and not to mention Char was obsessed with anime and became a true otaku. Seeing this, Haruto felt guilty and made sure she watch anime for a particular time of the day. After that, during dinner, Gold and Natalia ask about them, and Char tells them that Char and Haruto were studying ancient magic together. After dinner, Char goes to bathe with Haruto, and even though it bothers him, he goes with Char. Char sleeps next to Haruto, and Haruto's sweet freedom was gone. The next day, Gold, Zenfis, and some soldiers went to capture some regular bandits in the forest. After his departure, Char asks Haruto to go and fight the bandits since he is the hero of justice. She also demands him to transform like in the anime, a true otaku indeed. Char's adoring face got Haruto, and he couldn't refuse her request and went along, and transformed into a costume. He put up a live TV for Char so she could enjoy the action. After defeating the bandits, Haruto was spotted by Gold. Fortunately, Gold can't recognize Haruto, and asked who was he, and Haruto told Gold that he was a hero of justice and his name was Black Knight. Gold also confirms that he saved Natalia and Char before. After that, for some time, Haruto played the hero role as the Black Knight and captured many wrongdoers. As a Black Knight, Haruto got popular around the area. Then after some time, Haruto finally completed a copy of himself with artificial intelligence. The copy Haruto, who also known as Haruto 2, was just like Haruto, and his behaviors are the same. But Haruto 2 doesn't have any mana, since he was a creation of mana. While Haruto was testing the copy Haruto, suddenly from inside the blanket, Char appeared confused. Haruto explained everything to Char, and after that, Haruto asked Haruto 2 to replace him from his duty that day, but as his copy also has a mind of Haruto, eventually Haruto 2 refused and went to bed. So much for Haruto's plan. That day, the Crown Prince Laius Ortius and his elder half-sister Princess Marion visited Gold Zenfis' castle. The arrogant prince insults the places in gold and damaged Haruto by words and asked him to duel him. Haruto accepted and pretended to be weak for some time, but the prince's annoyance got to Haruto, and he fought back and won the duel. But the prince got angry and used a fireball. Haruto easily observed it, and everyone was shocked. The prince attacked Haruto with some more fireballs. Nothing hits Haruto, and the poor prince accuses Haruto of doing some illegal things, and Haruto demonstrates his powers before all of them. And the prince accepted defeat. The princess apologizes to Haruto. This concludes part 1 of the story. Stay tuned and please subscribe for the next part. Thank you for watching.